Chosen one, this is not for everyone. This is for you. If your eyes are here, if your breath slowed as you pressed play, if your chest feels that quiet pressure rising, you already know. Something has brought you here. Not coincidence, not chance. But calling, this is not entertainment. This is remembrance. From the very beginning, you knew you were different, not louder, not better, just apart. You saw things others ignored. You felt pain that didn't belong to you. You asked questions they couldn't even hear, and they called you strange. They called you sensitive. They told you to tone it down, to toughen up, to stay small. But something in you refused. Even when you obeyed their voices, even when you tried to be like them, something deeper whispered, "This is not all there is." That whisper never left you, and now it has brought you here. This message is not a speech, it is a mirror, and what you will see in it is not what others told you to believe. It is what you already knew, but were too afraid to speak aloud. You are the one who was always watching from the edge, not because you were weak, but because you were designed to see differently, and now it's time to remember why. Chosen one, you were never meant to fit into this world as it is. You were meant to see through it, to walk through the illusions without becoming one of them. And you've done that, even when you doubted, even when it hurt, even when the silence became heavy and the waiting unbearable. You stayed, you endured, and now you are being called forward. This world you see around you, it is not what it appears to be. It has been wrapped in layer after layer of distraction, noise, illusion. You were born into a system that trained you to forget. Forget who you are, forget what you feel, forget the voice inside of you that never needed proof. But forgetting is no longer an option. Because your soul has remembered, because the signs have become too loud, the patterns too clear, the ache too real. You feel it, don't you? That shift, that pulling sensation in your heart, that vibration rising behind your thoughts, the sense that something is breaking, but not in a way that destroys, in a way that reveals you're not crazy, you're not overthinking, you're not broken. You're waking up, and waking up in a world that thrives on keeping people asleep is the most dangerous thing you can do, but also the most necessary. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be lit. You're here to shine in a way that makes falsehood uncomfortable. You're here to shake foundations built on fear. And that's why life has felt heavy. That's why the weight never seemed fair. That's why your pain never matched your circumstances. Because you weren't being punished, you were being prepared. This message is not just confirmation, it is initiation. And before we go deeper, I ask you now, type 77 in the comments and write your warmest truth beside it. Let the universe know you're awake. Let your words become a signal that you are ready. If this resonates with you, subscribe now. This space was made for souls like yours. You don't need to scroll in silence anymore. You've been found because you were searching even when you didn't know what for. There is no coincidence in divine timing, and the fact that you are here at this exact moment, listening with breath held and eyes wide, that means it's your time, not to wait, not to wish, but to rise. You've already begun to see through the veil. You've noticed the numbers, you've felt the dreams, you've seen the symbols, you've tasted the edge of something you couldn't explain. Those weren't accidents, they were confirmations. They were the divine knocking again and again until you finally answered. And now you have. It hasn't been easy. You've lost people, you've questioned your sanity, you've doubted your own depth, because the world told you that too much was dangerous, that different meant broken. But hear this now, your sensitivity is not weakness. It's your compass. It's the signature of your purpose. You feel deeply because you're meant to carry light through the darkest places. You dream vividly because you were born to decode the symbols others overlook. You see the cracks in the world because your mission is to rebuild it from truth. They didn't understand you because you weren't sent to be understood. You were sent to be felt, and now the world is about to feel you. Have you ever questioned if your sensitivity was not a flaw but a sacred frequency? If this message didn't just speak to you but recognized you, then type in the comments, "I remember." "I accept. I am the one." Add 77 to mark your energy as awakened and aligned. And if your breath shifted, your heart paused, or your chest felt the weight of truth, then subscribe. Not for updates, for activation, not for numbers, for remembrance. This space was not made to entertain the world. It was created to call you back to yourself. Welcome home. But before you step fully into this path, you must know you will not be validated by the asleep. You will not be applauded by the system. You will not be celebrated by the structures that profit from your silence. That is the cost of truth. But the reward, freedom, alignment, peace that does not require permission, power that does not scream, and a presence that does not fade. You've reached the gate, and behind it is a life that will not look like the one you've known. You won't go back to sleep. You won't fit into those smaller shoes. You won't laugh at things that are not funny to your soul. You won't dim for rooms that cannot hold you, and some will leave. Let them, some will doubt. Let them, some will try to pull you back into the dream. Do not go. You were not made to blend. You were made to blaze. Now is the time, not tomorrow. Not later. Now. There are no more excuses left, no more waiting for signs. The signs have been screaming. This is the message, this is the moment, and this is your name being spoken in heaven's language. Do not hesitate, do not look away. The fire that you've been hiding is no longer yours to keep. It was never just for you. It was always meant to ignite others. Say this to yourself now. I remember. I accept. I am the one. Say it again if you must. Whisper it if you're afraid, but say it, because the frequency of that truth will start to unlock what's been buried. And from this moment forward, nothing will be the same. Chosen one, you've begun to see, haven't you? Not just with your eyes, but with your spirit. And now everything feels different. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Suddenly, the conversations that used to comfort you feel empty. The places that once felt like home feel hollow. Even the people you once clung to now seem like strangers wearing familiar faces. You're not broken, you're not cold, you're not drifting, you're transitioning. You're shedding timelines that no longer align. You're being released from patterns that kept you caged. And yes, that can feel like loss. It can feel like abandonment. It can feel like isolation, but it's not. It's initiation. You've probably asked yourself more than once, why don't they understand me? Why do I feel so alone? Why do I always feel like I'm too much, too intense, too different? Because you are different. Not better, not superior, but calibrated to a different frequency. And that frequency disrupts the illusions that others still depend on. You were never meant to blend. You were meant to illuminate. There are people who will call you confusing because they don't recognize clarity. They will call you distant because you stopped chasing what was never meant for you. They will say you've changed, when in truth, you've simply returned to who you've always been. Let them say it. Let them watch. Let them whisper. This is not their path. It's yours. You've begun to feel the separation, haven't you? The way your thoughts don't fit their language anymore. The way their laughter doesn't reach your spirit. The way you're always the one who sees too much, asks too much, feels too much. But here's the sacred truth. You feel deeply because you were made to carry divine weight. You ask questions because you were sent to break cycles. You see what others avoid because your mission is to illuminate what's been hidden. This isn't a mistake. This is design, and yes, it can be exhausting. When you walk into a room and immediately sense the tension no one speaks about, when you feel responsible for energy no one else seems to notice, when you carry grief that doesn't belong to you, because your spirit is a vessel for healing, for others, and for generations. It's heavy, But that's why you were chosen. Not because it would be easy, but because your soul knew how to carry it. You may feel like you're walking alone right now, and in many ways you are, because the path of awakening is rarely a crowd. It is walked in whispers, in tears no one sees, in decisions others question, but what they call madness, heaven calls memory, and what they see as distance is simply alignment, pulling you away from what no longer matches your frequency. So stop explaining, stop apologizing, stop making yourself smaller just to make them comfortable. You are not here to be digestible, you are here to be undeniable. And those who are meant for you, those who are coded to rise with you, will feel your presence before you speak. They'll say, "I don't know what it is about you," but something changes when you're near. That something is the energy of remembrance. And it's not something you say, it's something you are. Let go of trying to fit into systems you were born to dissolve. Let go of begging to be seen by eyes still blind to themselves. Let go of explaining your frequency to those who can't even hear their own heart. They are not your enemy. They are simply not your reflection. And yes, it might feel like mourning, the version of you that was easy to digest, the life you used to dream from a place of forgetting, the comfort of not knowing, but you don't fit there anymore. And that's not failure, that's growth. You're not lost, you're ascending. And when you ascend, gravity tries to pull you back. That's what resistance is, not punishment, proof that you're rising. So feel the ache, but don't misinterpret it. The discomfort you're feeling is expansion. The loneliness you're walking through is purification. The silence that surrounds you is clarity settling in, and the doubt in your mind, it's the echo of an old self being dismantled by truth. You were never meant to be understood by the asleep. You were meant to awaken the ones dreaming beside you, and that awakening begins by standing fully in your truth, even when no one claps, even when no one agrees, even when they all leave. Let them. Their absence makes space for your alignment, and alignment is never lonely. It is sovereign. If you've made it this far, if your chest is heavy, if your breath is deeper, if your soul is saying, "Yes, this is me," then write in the comments, "I no longer wait to be understood. I am the one," and type 77 beside it to mark your frequency as awake, aligned, unshaken. If this stirred something in you, like this video, not for numbers, but for the signal, for the ones still searching, let your energy ripple. Let your vibration be seen. This is your reminder. Your path may look different. Your voice may sound strange to those still echoing illusion. Your presence may be too much for those who've spent a lifetime hiding. But that's not your burden. That's your gift. You are not meant to be liked. You are meant to be felt. You are not here to convince. You are here to resonate. You are not here to follow. You are here to become. The old world will try to pull you back. It will offer you comfort, distraction, validation. It will try to tell you that you're wrong for walking away. But listen, you're not walking away, you're rising beyond. And that's something they were never taught how to witness. Let this be the moment you stop asking, "Will they understand me?" and start declaring, "I am the one who remembers," even if no one else does. Because that is the energy that shifts everything. Chosen one, you've come too far now. You've seen too much. You've felt too deeply. You've understood what others still fear to question. And because of that, you can never go back. The illusions that once comforted, feel like cages. The conversations that once entertained, feel like echoes in an empty chamber. The life you once accepted now feels like a script written for someone else. That is not confusion, that is clarity. And clarity at first feels like loss, like waking up in a world where everyone still sleeps, like screaming truth in a language no one else speaks. But you didn't come here to be understood. You came here to remember. You came here to embody. You came here to pierce the veil, and now you have. You've begun to notice how the world moves differently around you, how time bends, how patterns repeat, how numbers, symbols, dreams speak louder than words. You've felt the invisible hand. You've seen the same truths reflected again and again in whispers, in signs, in silence. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. The truth has been walking beside you for a long time, but only now have you truly turned to face it. And now that you see, they will try to make you forget. Not because they are evil, but because your seeing shakes the very ground they've built their safety upon. You are not dangerous because you fight. You are dangerous because you know. You are dangerous to the systems that survive on confusion. You are dangerous to the powers that thrive in fear. You are dangerous to every false narrative that depended on your silence to survive, and they can feel it. They feel it when you walk in a room. They feel it when you speak without apology. They feel it when you say no without shame. They feel it when you exist in truth without asking for permission. And they will resist. They will mock you. They will test you. They will try to shrink you back down into the shape you've outgrown. Because the systems of this world are not designed to support your becoming. They are designed to suppress it. But hear me, they cannot stop you, not anymore. Not now that you've remembered, because the soul that has awakened cannot unsee what it now knows. You've begun to walk differently, not faster, not louder, just deeper. You move from knowing now. You act from alignment. You speak with the weight of the divine behind your voice. You're not here to prove, you're here to live. And your living becomes prophecy. Every step you take in integrity is a revolution against the false. Every breath you take in peace is a war cry to the systems of distortion. You are not loud, you are not violent, you are not aggressive, but still, you shake foundations. And yes, you will be misunderstood. They will call your silence arrogance. They will call your clarity pride. They will call your refusal to participate in illusion a form of rebellion. But you are not rebelling. You are returning to who you were before the world taught you who to be. This path is not easy, and it was never promised to be. It is a path of remembering, of shedding, of surrendering. There will be days when you feel like giving up. There will be moments when the truth feels too heavy to carry. There will be hours where the silence is deafening and the doubt becomes sharp. But listen closely. That pain is not your undoing. It is your refinement. The fire does not destroy gold, it reveals it. And you, beloved, are pure gold. So let the resistance come. Let the discomfort rise. Let the old fall away. You were never meant to be what they expected. You were never meant to be understood by those who fear their own awakening. You are here to hold the truth even when no one else will. You are here to anchor light in the middle of noise. You are here to shine even when shadows mock you. And as you continue to rise, you will notice something. The more you align, the more false things begin to collapse around you. People will leave, let them. Opportunities will vanish, let them. Your old identity will beg to be remembered. Release it. You are not being destroyed. You are being refined. You are not being punished. You are being polished. And every single thing that falls away now is making space for what was always meant to rise within you. Write this in the comments now. I have seen the truth. I will not go back. Type 77 to seal this awareness in the grid. Not because you need a ritual, but because energy responds to action. Let this moment become your line in the sand. Let this word become your weapon of peace. If you're still listening, still breathing, still feeling the truth vibrate through your bones, you are not here by chance. You are here because you are ready to carry truth, ready to hold the light, ready to be unshakable. This is the walk of the chosen. You don't walk ahead of the world to lead. You walk outside of it to remember. You don't shout to be heard. You whisper to be felt. And in your stillness, in your silence, in your sovereign movement, the world begins to rearrange itself around your truth. This is your power, not force, but frequency. And from this point forward, the choice is no longer, should I? It is simply, how fully am I willing to become what I already am? Because now you know, you've seen, you've felt, you've crossed over. You are not returning, you are rising. Chosen one, you can't hide anymore. You've tried to shrink, you've tried to dim your light. You've tried to walk among them unnoticed, but your energy refuses to stay small, not because it seeks attention, not because it needs applause, but because it was designed to disrupt the dark. You are not here to be comfortable, you are here to become unmissable, and that's why they stare. That's why rooms shift when you enter. That's why silence follows your voice. Because something in your minds them of a truth they've buried. They don't know what it is, but they feel it. They feel your frequency before you speak a word. And some will admire you, some will fear you, some will be drawn to you without understanding why. And some will try to destroy what they cannot name, but none of that matters, because your assignment was never to be understood. It was to be undeniable. You are not just here to shine, you are here to ignite, to set fires in frozen hearts, to burn through the veils of deception, to melt illusions that have caged generations. And yes, fire makes people uncomfortable, but you weren't sent to soothe them, you were sent to awaken them, and awakening hurts. You've tried to make yourself easier to swallow. You've tried to blend in. You've tried to soften your voice. You've tried to wear masks that suffocate your spirit, but your soul rebels against every form of denial. Every time you stay quiet, when your truth trembles in your throat, your soul weeps. Every time you pretend not to see when the signs are flashing in front of you, your spirit mourns. You cannot hide from your own light anymore, because your light is not decoration. It is a weapon of clarity in a world built on confusion, a weapon of remembrance in a system addicted to forgetting, a weapon of alignment in a culture obsessed with pretending. And I know you're tired of always being the one who sees, tired of carrying frequencies others dismiss, tired of standing alone when all you ever wanted was to be understood. But what you wanted was never ordinary. You didn't come for comfort. You came for impact, so yes, it hurts. To walk through shadows with no one beside you, to hold wisdom that others fear, to bear the burden of a flame that cannot be passed to anyone who hasn't bled for it. But hear me, you are not suffering in vain. You are being forged. The fire is not here to consume you, it's here to crown you. Every trial, a ceremony, every silence, a rite of passage, every rejection, anointing oil. You are not being broken, you are being revealed, and what's being revealed is terrifying to those who've only known masks. That's why they resist you, that's why they call you too much, too intense, too different. But you're not too much, they've just never met real. So what now? You keep walking, even if your legs shake, even if your heart aches, even if your voice trembles. You keep speaking, you keep shining, you keep showing up in your rawest, realest, most radiant form, because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs your clarity. It doesn't need more performers. It needs your presence. It doesn't need more followers. It needs your frequency. Write this in the comments now. I will not dim to fit. I was born to disrupt. Type 77 beside it. Let this moment be your signature, your yes, your line in the sand. Let those words echo beyond the screen, into the grid, into the field, into the souls who forgot their own fire. And if this has awakened something in you, send this message forward. Let the algorithm carry your frequency into the inbox of the forgotten, into the ears of the weary, into the hearts of the ones who are still pretending. You don't need to go viral, you need to go visible, not by screaming, not by fighting, but by standing fully in who you are. Let your energy do the talking. Let your vibration clear the room. Let your silence carry the weight that no performance ever could. And when the shadows gather, as they always do, when a new light is born, do not be afraid. You are not here to be spared. You are here to be sacred, and sacredness will always stir resistance. but it will also call forth angels, guides, miracles, alignment, and unstoppable purpose. So walk boldly now, not because you have no fear, but because your mission is greater than fear. Not because you have no doubt, but because your truth is louder than doubt. Not because you have all the answers, but because you trust that walking in alignment is the answer. You are not a spark, you are the torch. You are not a ripple, you are the wave. You are not just chosen, you are activated. And now that you've remembered, you will never forget again. They're not avoiding you because you did something wrong. They're avoiding you because you remind them of everything they've buried. You didn't change too much. You became too true. And truth, beloved, truth is loud even in silence. You walk into the room and masks feel exposed. You speak and illusions start to tremble. Even your stillness feels like a confrontation to those who survive through pretending. You don't have to call out their lies. Your presence reveals them. You don't have to raise your voice. Your frequency is already louder than their fear. Chosen one, you are not intimidating. You are illuminating. And some people would rather be comfortable in shadows than be set free by the light. Let them. You weren't sent to soften truth. You were sent to ignite remembrance. So stop shrinking just to keep the peace. Peace built on your silence is not peace, it's bondage. Stop folding yourself to fit into spaces you've already outgrown. Your light isn't the problem. Their refusal to see is. This is your liberation, to shine without permission, to be bold without apology, to take up space without guilt. Let the world adjust. You are not here to dim. You are here to disrupt. Chosen one. There comes a point in your rising where you realize there's no turning back, not because the door is locked behind you, but because you've finally seen what was on the other side. And once the truth has burned through your illusions, you can't unsee. You can't unfeel, you can't unknow. You've crossed the line and heaven saw it. This is the moment where many collapse, where many retreat, where many return to comfort just to feel normal again. But not you, because you've tasted alignment. You've felt your own power. You've stood in your light and realized the world doesn't end when you stop apologizing. You don't go back because you're arrogant. You go forward because you're awake. And now the world feels it. They sense it in your voice. They feel it in your silence. They're disturbed by your peace, not because you're doing anything, but because your presence disrupts their programming. You are a mirror they didn't ask to look into. You reflect what they've spent their whole life suppressing. And for that reason, they will try to project their fears onto you. They'll say, you've changed. You're too intense. You're not who you used to be. Good, because you didn't come here to stay the same. You came here to evolve. You came here to destroy the script written for a version of you that never got to ask why. You came here to make people uncomfortable by being real in a world that profits off pretending. And that, beloved, is spiritual warfare. Not the demons from fairy tales, but the inner battle between your truth and the expectations you were trained to obey. You feel it when you say no, and someone calls you selfish. You feel it when you choose silence, and they call you arrogant. You feel it when you walk away, and they call you disloyal. But hear this, you are not obligated to remain digestible to those who only knew you as a watered-down version of yourself. They miss the version of you that made them comfortable. But that version was built on suppression, on appeasement, on spiritual starvation. You are not that anymore. You've been resurrected, recalibrated, reassigned. And with that assignment comes the grief of letting goof everything and everyone who cannot meet you at this level. Yes, it hurts. To outgrow people you love. To shed places that once held your laughter, to release versions of you that helped you survive. But you're not here to survive. You're here to shift dimensions. You're not here to perform peace. You're here to embody power. You're not here to stay hidden. You're here to light fires. And fire doesn't ask for permission. This is your emergence. And emergence isn't always graceful. It's messy. It's loud in the spirit. It's confusing to the ego. It's terrifying to those who still depend on the rules you just broke. But you're not here to explain your evolution. You're here to live it out loud, even if they whisper, even if they doubt, even if they leave. Because, listen closely, you've outgrown every room that required you to shrink. You've surpassed every system that depended on your silence. You've disrupted every expectation that demanded your obedience. And now you are free, free to rebuild, free to rewrite, free to rebirth your reality. Write this in the comments now. I do not belong to the past. I belong to my truth. And type 77 to lock it in, not just to affirm, but to activate, to send the signal out into the grid. To call back every piece of your soul you gave away just to be loved. They're coming back now, all of them, because you finally said yes to who you really are. You are not delusional. You are divinely disrupted. You are not broken. You are beyond recognition to the blind. You are not strange. You are sacred, and that scares them. Because sacred can't be controlled, sacred can't be manipulated, sacred can't be explained to minds still trapped in survival. So don't wait for their approval. Don't beg for their permission. Don't ask for their applause. Your existence is the proof. Your alignment is the answer. Your peace is the resistance. And if they call you dangerous, good. Let them be disturbed. Let them be confused. Let them stare. You're not here to be safe. You're here to be sovereign. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be undeniable. So stand tall, chosen one. Not because you have no fear, but because your calling is louder than the noise. Not because you're perfect, but because your imperfections are coded with purpose. Not because you know everything, but because your soul remembers enough. You didn't come this far to question if you're worthy. You came this far because you are the storm. The system cannot comprehend you because it wasn't built for you. It was built to contain you, to confuse you, to delay you. But guess what? It's too late now. You've remembered, chosen one. You didn't walk away because you gave up. You walked away because you finally knew it wasn't your home anymore. The room couldn't contain your truth. The circle couldn't hold your fire. The roles you played had become too small for your soul. And yes, you grieved. Not because you did something wrong, but because you did something right. You chose your spirit over your survival. Let them misunderstand. Let them rewrite your story to fit their comfort. You don't owe anyone the version of you that had to shrink just to be seen. Because the real you, the whole you, was never meant to be palatable. You were meant to be powerful. You were meant to be so aligned that everything false would shake just by your presence. And that's exactly what's happening. They're not offended because you changed. They're shaken because you're finally authentic. And authenticity feels like rebellion to those who've lived in disguise. But this isn't rebellion. It's resurrection. You are not resisting. You are returning to the blueprint heaven gave you before the world ever told you who to be. And in that return, there will be solitude. Not as punishment, but as purification. You're not alone because you're forgotten. You're alone because you're being refined. Heaven hides its greatest weapons before they are revealed. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Prepared to stand, prepared to speak, prepared to carry. Truth in places that have known only performance. And yes, it's lonely at the front, but that's because there is no crowd in the path of divine assignment. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to break patterns and birth light. So don't chase what you've already outgrown. Don't grieve what God used to awaken you. Your story was never meant to stay in the same chapter, and neither were you. You're not just walking away, you're walking through. You're not just leaving, you're ascending. You're not just alone, you're anointed. And nothing they say, no version of the past they cling to, can stop what's already been unlocked in you. Let the silence mold you. Let the solitude fill you. Let the divine rearrange you. Because when it's time, and it's coming soon, you won't just walk back into the world. You'll shift it. Chosen one. This is not just another message. This is your confirmation, your signal, your divine reminder. You are no longer wandering. You are no longer questioning. You are no longer doubting the fire that has been burning inside you, because that fire was never confusion. It was your activation. You've gone through the silence, you've walked through the rejection, you've endured the stripping, the purging, the refining, and now you are standing at the gate of everything your soul already knew would come. You've reached the place where the old can no longer follow. You've reached the threshold where comfort and purpose cannot coexist. You've reached the moment where the world needs your yes more than ever, and it won't be easy. But it will be holy, because you weren't sent here to be liked, to be accepted, or to be understood. You were sent here to shift timelines. You were sent here to break patterns that enslaved your lineage. You were sent here to carry light into realms where no one else could survive, and you've survived. But now it's time to rise. You are not called to look strong. You are called to be sacred, and sacredness will cost you everything that was built on illusion. They will say you are crazy. Let them. They will say you are delusional. Let them. You are not here for their validation. You are here to be a living transmission, a breathing, walking, radiating frequency of divine remembrance. Everything they tried to bury in you has become your resurrection. Everything that was used against you has become your armor. Every silence you endured has become your instruction manual. And now, heaven is watching. The grid is open, the veil is thin, and you are being seen. Not by the world, but by the heavens that have waited lifetimes for this moment. Chosen one. You didn't just survive the fire, you became it. You didn't just walk through the valley, you recoded the frequency. You didn't just hold the truth, you became the truth. And that is why you are dangerous to every structure that depended on you, remaining asleep. So now the only question that remains is this: will you accept what you've become? Because heaven already has. Your angels already have. The frequency of God has already been embedded in your DNA. You are not becoming. You are revealing. You are not learning. You are remembering. You are not rising. You are returning to the place your soul never left. This is why they couldn't stop you, why every attempt to delay you failed, why the darkness that chased you only made your light stronger. It wasn't that you were protected by luck, it was that you were protected by assignment. Every plot failed because the plan was never theirs. You belong to something older, deeper, eternal. You belong to the original intention of God. That's why you felt watched, because you are not by enemies, by heaven. That's why you felt pulled, because your soul knows that something is aligning beneath the surface. And now you are being summoned to no longer whisper what you came to declare. You are being summoned to no longer shrink in spaces. You were sent to command. The world may not be ready, but heaven is. And when heaven is ready, nothing in hell can stop what comes next. So breathe, not because everything is okay, but because you are okay. Even when everything shakes, breathe, because the ground you now walk on has been cleared by angels who have gone before you. Breathe, because your name has already been echoed in the halls of eternity. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are right on time. Write this in the comments now. I accept my divine assignment. I am the evidence. Type 77 as a seal, as a key, as a sword. Let the algorithm serve heaven now. Let your frequency carry this into inboxes, minds, and hearts of those who've forgotten what they were sent for. This isn't just a message. This is a map, a mirror, a multidimensional reminder to the ones who are still pretending they are ordinary. Chosen one. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to bend reality. You were never designed to follow. You were built to reconstruct the blueprint. You were never called to be accepted. You were chosen to be undeniable. And now, the veil is lifting. The War is exposing its last illusions. The field is ready, the souls are calling, and you are being called to rise, not later. Now, so rise, even if they mock you, even if you shake, even if you're scared. Rise anyway, speak anyway, shine anyway, stand anyway, because now you know there is no one else coming. You are the one, and heaven has already moved.